I'm almost there, so it's getting there.
When I first signed up to TikTok, I had another company. And I had my own import business. I was importing a lot of goods for the Swedish country. Anyway, I said, let me sign up with TikTok. I went live in 2 weeks because of the products the products I was selling. I post stuff and stuff. That's when you didn't really have all these requirements on TikTok or have to be approved, and it went like that. But then I had TikTok for over 3 years, and I really didn't do anything after that. I got the thousand. I was like, it was too easy. So I kind of just like leave it there. Once in a while, I go put a. But now when I have the time to really do it, and I like to. You can hear my lips like to move. I like to talk to people. It's refreshing. I I don't know if you heard me talking to the young lady before, Mercy. Um,
Yeah,
People
I
listen.
know.
Whenever I
Yeah,
say something, people listen for some reason.
yeah, yeah. We're talking about how to apply for a working visa or some sort in UK.
Yeah, she's going to the UK, but I was like I said, I'm sure she's probably in the background listening. I said, please, before you do, if you want to get a job, just go always start with your embassy because the embassy has everything.
Hmm.
They it's clearly on their website, and if you she has a business degree in finance. I went to school for finance or accounting. I said, there you go. Jobs are there. Just a matter of whether or not just apply with your embassy and get the required documents. So when you come in, you got less hassle because their countries are doing this thing now. They're rapidly removing people from countries now.
Correct. It's like
You know,
it's a movement. Even Australia kind of doing something similar. So
Mm.
does Canada, US. So
Yeah, and everybody's following Big Brother, USA.
yeah,
It's so toxic right now.
yeah, yeah.
It is.
So I'm not even sure what that's going to achieve. I think a lot of time immigrants for a lot of the Western countries, like for example the main like US, UK, and Australia, New Zealand, including a lot of the foreigners, were the backbone of the growth of the country. Because like Australia don't have population, we are under 25 million people. The vast majority of land is so big, so we need more people in order for us to develop into where we are. So like when you send them back, and younger people are not having any children, so how are you intend to replenishing the nation? Like 20 years later, we haven't got enough people to cover the elderly people. Like for example, if I'm like in my 80s, I am sure we haven't got anyone to look after me if I ever have anyone to look after me. So I'm
You
saying like
know, yeah, you're you're so right about what you just said there. The problem the US is going to face right now is like let me just say the UK also. Um, when they did what you call they cut the ties with Europe, but they're still a part of the European nation, but they just wanted to stand alone. But then they started to get rid of a lot of immigrants. You know what happened? Their agriculture went down
Mhm.
when it comes to working in like slaughterhouse, all that. So food becomes very scarce in the UK because the people that are doing the backbone work are immigrants.
Mhm.
And when you start saying because they're undocumented, a lot of companies use these people. They don't give them the right salary. They give them under wages. They know that they have no other choice, and they don't give them the status to be able to work like everybody else. So they just use them. free labor basically, just give them a few coins. So now when you got rid of that, and then all of a sudden the factories are empty, how are you going to put food on the table?
Correct.
The
And
people that
also like your price increase because your demand, yeah, like your demand is there, but you do not have, you can't produce the demand. That means your price increase.
yeah, and what happened also, if you know, if you remember or think about it, the when they implied, started the Brexit, and when it went into effect, hundreds, hundreds of trucks was parked outside the border to get over there, and none of the drivers had the qualification to get into the court into UK. So what happened? A lot of food that was being imported into the UK got literally destroyed. And we're talking weeks and weeks and weeks. And all of a sudden, the shelves in the store start to get empty. They're like, wait a second, what did we just basically screwed ourselves. They did.
Right.
It's the same exact example is happening now in the US.
It is, and I think it'll be like far more worse in US.
Oh, well, wait a second. You're talking 350 million people you got to feed. And when you have migrants standing there, pulling the tomato, the avocado, all those stuff,
Correct. Correct.
and you can't, you can't use machinery to do the work. You
No, even
need,
like even if you say like I'm going to put some sort of robotic like machineries to work, you do have the technology, you do not have the production technology this has been tested in the work in the farm, or like you do not have that up and running. So you are literally taking a risk. Instead of sponsoring these people, processing them, you're just selling them to like from Mexico, like other South American countries. You're not considering the risk of your shelf, like you're not going to have food. That's going to inflate your price in the marketplace. That means you will actually have people who can't afford to pay a higher price for the food that were able to get prior. Like, oh my gosh, sometimes when I look at America, I'm like, I'm glad I moved out of there. Like seriously, so at some stage, I'm like, this is probably the best decision I ever made because I could not live there. It's insanity at the moment.
my daughter lives there. She wants to go there a couple of years ago, and now she's starting to feel the print of. She can live anywhere she wants. She has three passports. She can have three passports because her dad is from the Caribbean. She's not going to go to the Caribbean. That's not of interest. But she has the American passport and she got the Swedish passport. And I think eventually she's going to end up moving back because the how it is right now. She lives in Georgia, and I tell you, it is toxic,
Hmm.
literally toxic. My sisters and brother all live in the U.S. and they said it's so crazy. They've never seen it. They've been there for more than 30 years. Because we came there when we were teenagers, all of us. But now it's so toxicated, and when the government see that's there, when it's not the I said the man called the T that is sitting on the throne is a problem. Is the people behind the T that's
Right.
telling he's just the mic he's just the speaker, the big speaker. Is the people that feed him all the information that they want. They're not going to put themselves out there to speak, but they give him all the information to speak because he's a dumb idiot. He's the biggest dumb idiot there is. And I'm not going to say the name here because it's been censored. Uh,
Yeah, I got
but
you.
but the fact is, I saw yesterday on the media. Somebody was on social media. They went into a store. They had nothing in terms of potato, tomato, corn, all the rest, leeks, all the necessary vegetables that used to be. This store used to be flemish with vegetables and fruit. There was
Right.
zero in that store. Now, if you think that that one store, and this was a chain of stores, don't have it, eggs, you're paying $40 for one 24 pack of egg. Forty
I
dollars.
think,
Just used to pay $3 for.
yeah, I think I was talking to my girlfriend today or yesterday, and she was telling me, girl, a small box of eggs for $10.
Yeah.
$10, she said,
Yeah.
like six eggs for $10. I'm like, what?
Yes. No, and it's gonna get worse.
It
This
is
is
gonna get worse.
this is just the tip of the iceberg. I was watching about an hour ago a lady. She had on her social media TikTok, and they were in the field, immigrants, migrants, I should say, migrants. Let's just be respectful. I am an idiot. I don't like. I'm never gonna put down a person that picks any form of food. I don't care if you're the most richest person in the world, and I do know some rich people. Are you the poorest person in the world? Everybody is the same. We're just human beings, just because you have a better status. But anyway, if you look at, she was picking. They were picking bloomkohl. The bloomkohl is Swedish, but it's more like a plant that has like a white, and they have all the leaves around it. We call
Turnip,
it
turnip, turnip.
not turnip, not turnip. It's almost like a cabbage, but not a cabbage. We call it bloom.
Cauliflower,
Huh?
cauliflower.
Not cauliflower. No. Alexa, what is the bloom call in English? She doesn't know that. Anyway.
Broccoli.
All right. Let's just say broccoli. Let's just say broccoli. But it wasn't broccoli. It was. If it's not broccoli, then you have the white one. You have the broccoli is green, but the other one is
White.
cauliflower.
Yeah,
Did you
cauliflower.
say
Yeah,
cauliflower before?
I did.
Yeah, you did. Cauliflower. That's it. Anyway, but they were going. The truck is going down the field slowly. They have several people in a line, and she has two rows. Everybody have their own two rows. The truck is going slowly. Now think about it. A regular American will never do that.
Right.
You know what? The farmers, they said, "Oh, these dumb farmers, they voted for this tea to come into power because it's like, oh, it's gonna make their business great. They're gonna make more money." In fact, the day after he won, and now he's in power after the 20th, no one started to show up at work. These few migrants that's there, they're gonna eventually go. They're gonna go back to wherever they are.
Hmm.
Why? And then a lot of the farms are starting to cry now with the bro, nobody to pick the. I said, you caused that on yourself. But everybody in America will going to feel how hard it is not to have these migrants to do the work.
Correct. Correct. Like
They're under, they're
farmers, they under.
underpaid, and they're under appreciated, and they
And
step on the. What's that?
they're underestimating what they contributed to the country. They are totally underestimating it.
It's one of the yeah, it's one of the biggest money maker there is, migrants. They don't give them health care. You don't have health care in the US.
This
um,
majority of people don't have health care. I'm like nothing great about America. Like you don't even have a universal health. I'm like
no,
nobody can debate this to me until you guys have a universal health. You cannot even talk to me. Like you can't. Like
thank you.
I don't even live in the country. Like Australia, we have universal health.
Yeah.
I'm Swiss still is the same. I think like us over here.
90% of 90% of European countries have universal health care.
Correct. Like a country that is not third world, you don't have universal health care. Make it make sense. Like
They call it socialist. Are you sick? Are you really are you kidding me?
correct.
Socialist?
Like
Give me a break. I
how?
mean,
Like
the Democrats wanted to come in and give some, at least try to like convince the people. Listen, we can give you this. We're going to give you this. A year, the first year, a woman in a anyone, sorry, not a woman, the child would get X amount of dollar from the state, to help out. If you're a low income person, you help get a little help to help, take care of your nappies or your cribs and stuff. We don't want that. That's socialist. Come on, give me a freaking break here.
I like
Come on.
I've I've traveled a lot. Like I've traveled pretty much a lot of European countries. I've traveled through Asia. I've traveled through like Australasia. And when I went to US, when I was like living there, some part of the world, some part of the US, I thought they are the third world country to me.
Of course it is.
It's like the poverty, the oh my gosh, like people living on food stamps, and like I'm not like degrading them, like the government, like especially when you say you're not a third world country, for your people to live like a third world country, it's like contradicting their statement.
One of the richest country in the world is the USA. The richest
And
country, but what they do, if you only let less than 1% of the country own have that money, the
correct,
rest, I don't know how it is in Australia, but here the cities, the cities, the towns are all joined together through rail, and most of the towns um, you take the train from a tiny little village. You get on the train, local train, and you go to the cities and work and go back home. It
mm,
creates value to your village. Number one, and number two, it helps us, alleviate the stress of people migrated into the city just to live in the city. So they create like a more better atmosphere. So if you want to live out in the countryside and live a little bit more calmer but work in the city, fine. Not saying, if you think about New York, for instance, it's 8.5 or 9 million people live on one tiny little island. Do you
mm,
understand the stress level of that? I lived through that. I've been there. I live in New York. I live in New Jersey, New York. I work there. I go there for 2 days. I want to get the hell out because it's so stressful. People
yes,
and people don't see it. But I'm telling you, most of the cities in the U.S. is not connected. The few trains that they have, just swoop by, and everybody gets into a car because everything is built around the car. And you don't have health care. When you do have health care, you pay a ton of money for it, a ton of money for it, and your employer have to pay a ton of money. You have to pay a ton of money, and when you do go to the doctor, you still have to pay this high um, coverage, or should I say deductible, just to have health care. Just to have health care.
correct,
And I
yeah.
and I tell you, I live here. I have such great health care. I had very high blood pressure a few years ago. 250. I was at 250
Wow.
high and 200 low. I was at the verge of having a heart because like I said, I had my own business, doing 18 million plus, growing like crazy. But I was so stressed out. For a second, I thought it was. I thought it was a spider jump on the wall. I'm like, ah! But it wasn't. But anyway, I thought it was a cat. But no, but the fact when I went to I went to the emergency room because I had a pain in my chest, and then the doctor said, "You're not leaving the room. You're not leaving the emergency room." Do you know how much that cost me?
Nothing.
Zero. Zero.
Same here too. So
Cost me zero.
yeah,
I see people goes in for when I have my children, it costs me zero.
same here too.
Zero. Just try having a child in the US. Nothing less than 10 to 15,000 to $20,000 to have a child in the US.
Not ridiculous. Like your standard standard healthcare to function of the country is not even there. I don't even know. Sometimes I want to denounce my citizenship in US because it's like just the extra paperwork. It's not like the strongest passport anyway these days, and not be liable for tax purposes.
I
But
totally ignore. I totally listen. Sure. See if I can find this here. This was from my bank. I gotta fill this out for the US every year. I haven't done it in 30 years.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I don't think I would relocate there.
No,
I
no,
mean, it's fun. There's a lot of activities to do. It's fun, like party. Like, I feel like more connected because there's more people like me that I could connect with. That part really elevates me. But despite that, I think the cost of living, the universal healthcare, like a lot of other things that does not kind of like I could not be satisfied with it. You know what I mean? You do want a work-life balance. I don't want to be I don't want to be feeling like I think when I was in US it's almost like a competition constantly. Everybody's like chasing, everybody's aggressive, like you have to be go getter. Instead of you sit back and you do your work, you work for somebody, whatever, you do your work and then you still enjoy life. You have a more peaceful work life balance and like we are very big on work life balance, mental health like really important for us. People care about people. I think when I look at that place, I was like, oh, it's worth me staying here. Like, there's like stress will kill you. I'm like, I'm not trying to stress at my age. Mm-mm. I'm not trying to do all that.
no. I want. You're right. You're right about everything you just said. When I left the U.S., I came here. I was like this because you don't see that tempo.
Right.
That push. Everybody was like
The rush, like adrenaline rush, like
the
to.
adrenaline. Yeah, it took me a few years to get out of that, to
Hmm.
detox from that.
Hmm.
Literally,
I think it's so much peaceful because it's almost I felt like I had to do this for my own well-being. I don't have to be in competition with nobody. I just want to be able to do things more and be more present with life. You know how like when you rush so much, you're not present with everything that you're doing. You're just rushing. I want to be able to take a walk more meaningfully, or I want to be able to sit at home meaningfully. I want to feel safe when I go out. I don't want to have like a mass shooting. How often do you hear in US? Like almost every other
every
day.
day, every day. We just had, unfortunately, something like that, and it was just because of somebody was just a little bit nuts. A Swedish person did it, a guy. 11 people got killed. That was just less than a week ago.
Recently.
Yeah,
Oh,
less,
really?
less, just a few days ago. It happened an hour from where I live. It
Wow.
was, and who he targeted people from certain countries in the Middle East. And those are the people he was targeting, unfortunately. But he took his own life at the end too, unfortunately. But he was totally gone in his brain. That's not an excuse. And the problem here is for somebody having mental breakdown and have access to this country has a gun law. You're not supposed to have those type of gun unless you're certified. Like any country, if you have to have a certain type of, and they were mainly for hunting, nothing, not to go hunt people. But this guy was a complete lunatic. But anyway, it happens, and sadly, it happened. It's all about not being. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, things happen, and I don't like saying that, but it does. You can walk out your door and get hit by a truck or a car or whatever or something. But it's also unfortunate things happen. But in the U.S., it's every single day.
Yeah, it is.
Over
Unfortunately,
eight, over 81. Now, listen to this. How many months so far gone in the year? Less than two. And over 81 mass shooting in the US.
wow, this year, 2025.
Yes, less, and we're only in the seventh day in February. If you think about it, it's 31 days in January. And then already 81 mass shooting. That's almost three a day.
That is insanity.
Yeah.
That is,
And the government there will never ever pass laws towards these guns. They'll never do it because it's a money maker for them.
it
They
is.
don't.
It's just like war. It's just like war. They put a lot of money in the war, so there's all the weapons, But
If you're for yourself, you don't care about your people. If that's how you see it, you don't care about the people. And every they say that in America, it's 10 gun to one person. What the hell you need 10 gun for?
Wow.
So just to tell you that, and it's 350 million people live in the US. So if you have 10 gun, a minimum of 10 gun per person, do you know how many guns that is? It's a lot.
Wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's
And
outnumbered.
everybody walks around looking like they're Starsky and Hutch. They're police, they're still there's uh, when it comes to the Constitution, they're still back in the Constitution, the days of when you had those type of guns.
Yeah.
You're walking around with a rifle on your hip, and whatever it may be. But it,
Like
it's
you're carrying a concealed gun and and you're walking around as if this is like normal. Like I've seen it over there, and I know some of my friends also registered and own weapon. I almost feel fearful having a weapon. Like I used to be married in U.S. and my ex-husband family carried weapon and they used to go hunting and rifles and yeah, it's pretty scary. Now I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like
I,
everything.
I I don't I never see that here.
Yeah, not
You
in
the only
Canada.
person the only person you see walking around with a gun here sometimes is a police, and they barely have guns because they don't really need it. You know, they know they're very good at. Sometimes they do have it, yeah, but most of the time they don't. It's still considered one of the safest countries in the world, Sweden.
Right.
Norway is almost non-existent. Non-existent. In Finland, pretty much the same. And people go about their daily work, daily chores, daily everything, and live their life and just enjoy. But still, you still have to be careful because the times are changing, and certain type of people move in, and you know sometimes things just kind of get a little bit unbalanced. But I believe that we all have the right to move within this world. We all have right to move, and and it's sad that we don't see it that way when we all live on one planet. We none of us own anything in this world. We're all here temporary. We all should learn to enjoy the beauty of the earth and all share it, but we cannot see that. We are so blinded by trying to always possess things. We don't own nothing. We came in with nothing, we leave with nothing. We may earn or build something nice growing through life, but we don't own nothing. So we all, and this is one of the things I like about Sweden is that if you have a property, legally you have right. If you like to have make like a tent for the night and sleep on that person property, providing that you clean up and do the necessary thing, you're okay to do it in Sweden.
Wow.
And that's just how the law is, and people are comfortable with that. You just say, listen, hey, there's a creek here. Is it okay if I just no, no problem. As long as you just do the necessary thing, clean up, make sure everything is all good, they're happy with that. They're fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily something like that over here. Look, we are very similar to US. We just have a less of a population. We are kind of a growing country. We're still developing in some part of the world, part of the state, different states. But I think it's still very peaceful. Look, people still voice like what they think, like what is their opinions are. Uh, but I think comparing to US, this is probably much more peaceful here, much more safer here. Look, as you say, like it's not safe everywhere. Things could happen, but it's not like an everyday event. It's gonna happen once in a blue moon.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the thing I liked about what Australia did back in I think it was the 80s or something, they make sure they got
Yeah, they did. It's a big mass movement of
everyone, anyone and everyone that had a gun, a major big gun, you had to turn it in. and they crushed all of them.
I
They
don't think that would ever happen in US. So like that would never
this
happen.
they say the Constitution this, the Constitution that. The Constitution was actually said, yeah, you're right to defend yourself, and you should. The guns back then were just a six shooter or a rifle. Now they still the Constitution. The people use the Constitution there from the 1800, the 16, 15, 16, 1800s, 17, 1800. What was written back then, and they think that that law should not change, but still yet the guns have changed, the
Yeah.
weapons have changed, and they will not adjust the Constitution according to the weapons they have today. Why? Because the government makes so much money off of it,
Correct.
and they don't care.
And also recently, you know how like they opposed the birthrights. Like if your parents were not from US, but you were born there, they will you no longer have the birthrights in US. They actually
No,
restored.
that's something they're trying to do. That's it's not going
No,
to
no,
go
but
through.
that was restored today. The court ruling said like that's not gonna go ahead. So like that was from the part of the constitution. Like if they were willing to change the constitution, so that why not change this?
Well, it's the right wing party which is in power are given that type of should I say in Sweden we call it förslag. Give it like I said, this is what we want to do, but I would like you to go out and say it because we want you to say it. And he's now amplifying it and trying to say this is what's going to happen. But it will never go through. They will fight until the day they will fight. Because if that's the case, then he is not allegedly president. Because if you think his parents was from Germany,
Correct. So that his
so
wife.
so is his wife is from Lithuania. So that means that you two are not legible America. You're not American yourself, if that's what you're trying to say. So right there alone, you can't claim one thing and don't claim it towards yourself. You have to
And,
feel the
and
birthright. Huh?
whenever I watch them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot even stand anymore. Like this is like the layman term stupidity. Like I don't even I can't even believe I'm witnessing this like these days. Like especially since what 15, 16 days is in the White House, and it's just crazy.
It's this is just the beginning. It's gonna get worse.
Like
It is gonna get. Listen, the biggest millionaire is behind him. But I, I'm going to touch on this a slight bit. The person, you know what I'm talking about, um, as a as for what he has done, technological wise, I'm for him 100%. Personally, his personal things and personal views, I separate it because the technical part is really what we need to change the world going. And actually, he has done many, many good things to fossil fuel and all that things, and is trying to make rockets go to where it goes. But he has done so much thing towards humanity. On the personal note side, on the personal views to what's going on right now, he's doing it to amplify his company,
mhm.
and that's why he moved to one side of the party, saw what he was doing, and refused to give him that mandate. So they try to keep him in that frame where he should be. I say
I
it
think
again, where he should be in the technical side. Stay out of the politics side.
I
But
think they pushed him out of the White House now, so he like they kind of slightly changed his role, so he no longer is like in the pocket anymore. It's kind of there, but it's not in the pocket anymore.
well,
Kind
no.
of.
Listen, he doesn't want to be on paper saying statusley there. but what's being amplified is things that he wants to get done. He's already put someone in the rocketry to be able to be in charge of that. He's already getting people in different parts of the government in order to satisfy his personal needs. He does not need to be president. He doesn't want to be president. He cannot be president. But his implication is that what he can, the things that he can influence are very, 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 very high. And when you have a following base of over 200 million people,
Yeah.
you can influence markets. You can influence people.
But I think now, given all the negative media, I think people have really awoke. Like they're more awake now. They kind of
It's
understand.
too late. It's already too late. It's too late because for the next 4 years, whatever you do, try to do, however you want to do it, it's not going to create anything. And here's the sad part. If it so happens to be this person at 82, 83 in coming months would pass away, then they have a younger version of that in there. So they've already set it up that this person can go on for another 4 more years. So you're looking at probably about 12 years of this. And whoever is in power will lead,
Yeah.
no matter how much you try to change it. Just like the Democrats did for 4 years, the 4 years they were there.
Yeah.
American people just got sold. They basically, they said, "Fool me once, fool me twice."
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, yeah, and they basically got duped. But how do you do that? You just tell people what they want to hear, but you do the opposite anyway. And
He
American
just
people,
love bombed America. he just love bombed everybody, and then they see ya.
yeah, exactly. They just basically just like
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I may sound I hope I'm not sounding bitter or anything, but it's not that. It's just that I love America. My mom and dad is buried in America. My heart is always going to be in America. Well, this is home. This is Sweden. This is my home. I love it here. Um, I I have no plans of changing my status, even though I have the ability to go back to the U.S. and live. I will always travel there. My children are American citizen by
Right.
legal terms. And if you do ever have children and decide to keep your passport, please do get that because it gives them a sensibility to be able to travel
Yeah.
into the U.S. And they'll probably make a choice themselves later on down the road. But it's a good thing to have. And if you don't give it to them, and they're gonna like say, "You had it. Why did they get rid of it?" And then they're gonna try to fight to get it themselves. But when they get it themselves and go there and see for themselves, they're like, "Whoa, what the heck is this?"
I
Let
know.
them
Like
give them
I,
their choice.
I don't even think my boys have desire to go back and now. They're very Aussie. They're very, very Aussie.
You, how can you not be when you got crocodile as big as a freaking house and a spider that's
I'm telling you, it's such a myth. It's not like we got spiders like running all over the place. I hardly see one. I really hardly see one. So I think it's just a sense of like we're down under. There's like a lot of spiders, lots of crocs. I never seen a croc well, unless I'm like in a park or something, like in one of those like a reptile park. Yes. Other than that, no. It's pretty
uh,
safe.
wait a second. There are crocs that go into the ocean. I saw a guy was videoing something. I don't know where he was, and this huge croc just kicked.
It's in the
Huh?
northern. It's in the northern territory. It's like up north.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't think the crocs can swim down to you guys down to Sydney? I ain't going that. You guys are the biggest sharks in the world. You have the biggest crux in the world.
It's too
What's
far.
wrong with you people?
It's too far away. It's too far away. Sydney is like just like I could say like Boston.
I know where it is. I did business with Tasmania, south of Sydney.
Yeah, no, Tasmania is like down past Melbourne. It's like a little island tucked
Yeah,
away.
I know. It's a little island outside the main island. I know where it is. I know where it is. Hey, Vito! This guy from what's this? Is somewhere in Africa. It's an Indian guy, nice guy. In fact, he's actually on my channel. He just sent me a rose. Thanks for the rose, buddy. Oh my god, it's it was there listening. Thanks, Vito.
I'm gonna drop out. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna call it a night. But lovely chatting with you.
Yes,
Remember,
you too. I know it's late there. It was great talking with you. Boy, I think we talked for about an hour. What the heck?
I know, and it was a good conversation. It was good gossip about US. So,
You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna repost it.
all right. You have a great, have a good day. I think it's a day for you
Not,
guys.
huh?
Morning for you guys. Morning.
No, it's midday. It's midday.
Midday. All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. It was lovely talking to you. It was a great